Yo, what is going on, Geek Corner? This is your boy, Erskmac, the Mad Scientist. Welcome back to the Orange Phoenix Media channel and another episode of Saturday Morning Comics. You already know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell, because when you hit that notification bell, there's a drop-down box that says all. Just go ahead and select all. That way you get notified on all of our content, whether it's live or recorded. Man, I missed you guys. Man. I got to give y'all a little bit of transparency. You know what I mean? Got to give y'all a little bit of transparency. I've been out of town for like the past couple weekends, man, and the places that I've been, I was unable to actually take this and all, my equipment and all that other stuff like with me, the lighting and all that. I was very much unable to do that because I would like to give you guys some quality. You know what I'm saying? As a subscriber count increases, so will the quality. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'm just playing around. But yeah, I went on a cruise. Like me and my fiance, my kid, we went on a cruise a couple weeks ago for an entire weekend. MLK weekend. What better weekend to do it than on MLK weekend, right? Like she ran up on a deal, right? So that deal was, the first person's full price, the second person is like 60% off, and then the third person is free. I'm the free one. So the only thing I had to do was get a plane ticket and dip. And that's exactly what I did, man. And also, this was like after the holidays and all that stuff, man. And to be honest with you, I was a little stretched in a little bit, more so than I wanted to admit, because I was like hard charging it, like when it came down to the channel and stuff that I really wanted to do when it comes to like certain things. So yeah, I need a little bit of a break, but I was like gung-ho about doing this show because I know I put it on the post on our YouTube channel and that we was going to talk about Gundam and stuff like that, but fret not, because we got a jam-packed show for you guys today. So those 2 weeks that I was kind of MIA, I will catch up on those things from 2 weeks ago, along with the stuff from today, along with some stuff from the future. So we got a jam-packed show for you guys today, man. Definitely. But and I'm gonna give y'all a little, just like the thumbnail says. We got our indie comic of the week, and we're definitely gonna be talking about Wonder Woman issue number 29 without spoilers. Right? Without spoilers, because I didn't want to like jump into the story, get into the nooks and crannies of the story without and spoiling it for you. And I don't want to spoon feed you guys what's in issue number 29 of Wonder Woman. Like, I don't want to spoon feed you that, but I'm gonna give you enough to say, damn, I need to go read that book. I need to go see what's up with that. So definitely that. Definitely gonna be talking about the indie comic of the week. Definitely gonna be talking about my visit to the movie theater to see a Gundam double feature on the big screen in the movie theater. I'm going to talk about my experience with that. I'm also going to talk about the Masters of the Universe trailer that came out last week, so definitely going to expand on that. And also, there is another Marvel DC crossover involving, Superman and Spider-Man as the feature. So, yeah. So, we're definitely going to be covering that, as well as some upcoming comics coverage for next week. So stuff to look forward to next week. So yeah, we got a bunch of stuff going to talk about, but first I got to tell y'all a little funny story, right? So first of all, I hope you guys got your coffee, and those of y'all that's in the southeast region, that's on the East Coast, and y'all dealing with a little bit of cold weather, y'all dealing with a little bit of snow, you know what I mean? And y'all snowed in. I hope you got all the food and supplies that you need. I hope you got your coffee and everything else in between. And, what better place to hang out with than Saturday Morning Comics. But enough of that advertisement, enough of that house cleaner. So, funny story, right? So, one of my goals for 2026 is to play more RPGs. Like, role-play games. Play more RPGs, right? And to give my Switch a little bit more love. I have always given my Switch love. And I always say this, and I say this to my fiance, that this one of the best gifts you ever got me was a Nintendo Switch. Like, you know what I mean? So I call my Switch the king of RPGs because I put RPGs on it. You know what I mean? But one of the games that I'm actually playing is Lunar Remastered Collection, or the Collector's Edition. Right? So those of you that's not familiar, Lunar came out for, I want to say Sega CD, and then Sega Saturn, and then they had PlayStation 1, and then they did a remastered for, multi-platforms or whatever. But I put it on the Switch. But the way the packaging was for the PlayStation 1 was crazy, man. It came in a box. It came in a plastic box, but the top part of it was flipped open like this. And it was like attached like Velcro. And when you open the box, you saw like full anime artwork, right? You open the box, you pull out like this 4-disc case, a hardback manual, which is black with bookmark, like with a bookmark tag. Got the bookmark tag. So if you're reading it, if you just kind of like want to like stop reading it for a second, you could bookmark it. You could actually bookmark it. And it came with a cloth map of what it, of the game. So if you really want to follow where certain things are, you can look at the cloth map and see where things are. You can actually go explore or whatever. They had like crazy anime cutscenes, and the game was really good. It was an RPG for RPG's sake. It was definitely a classic RPG. It's one of those, I don't want to say it's a hidden gem RPG, but it's definitely up there for me. It's definitely up there with the other RPGs of PlayStation 1 days. Lunar was definitely one of those ones. You know what I mean? The music, the cutscenes was crazy. So the other game I did not play was the sequel to that, which was Lunar 2, and I think it's like Eternal Blue or something like that. I have not played that, and for what I understand, that takes place years after the first game. So yeah, you got like familiar faces or characters or creatures or ethnicities or whatever, but I have not played that game yet. But I'm in the middle of playing Lunar Remastered Collection. So after I beat that. But the funny story is, I was like sitting at my desk. I was like prepping for the show for today. And like, damn, you know what? I have yet to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, right? It was just in my mind. I said, I need to add that to the list. So, how I came up with that, I saw it on Steam, right? And something told me, don't buy it on Steam. Like, check your PlayStation app and see what sales they have for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Come to find out, I already bought the damn game like maybe a year and a half ago. I bought it a year and a half ago and completely forgot about it. Like, that's the funny part of it, because I played the demo. Like, I bought my PS5, and then I had the latest Final Fantasy game on there, and I played the demo, and apparently, as I was playing the demo, I went ahead and said, bump it. I'm gonna go ahead and buy the whole game. And I must have bought the collector's edition because it came with some extra stuff. I'm like, damn, how long I had this game? I had this game for a hot minute. So I went ahead and downloaded the game last night, and I didn't really play it. I just started playing it because it was like after midnight. It was going like to 1 o'clock in the morning kind of thing. And I said, nah, I'm not gonna get like wired down in this game and then play it for hours, right? But I want to go into the weeds of like skipping across Lunar and then jumping on Final Fantasy VII. So I think what I'm attempting to do is go ahead and finish Lunar and then hop on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like, there's no rush. You know what I'm saying? There's no rush. So now with my Switch, when I say it's like RPG, so I got the Lunar Remastered Collection, which is 2 games in one. I got the Grandia Collector's Edition Remastered, which is Grandia 1 and Grandia 2, which I played both of those games, which was Grandia 1 was on PlayStation 1, Grandia 2 was on Dreamcast, and phenomenal RPGs, right? Got those, right? Well, the next couple games I wanted to get was Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake and Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake, but I got to put a pin in that because once I beat Lunar Silver Star Story Complete, I'm going to have to jump on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I bought like a year and a half, 2 years ago, which is crazy. Crazy, man. I can't believe I bought that game and didn't realize, like, when did I buy this game? Like, when did I buy this game, man? Has that ever happened to y'all? Like, y'all bought a game and just completely forgot about it. And see, I got an all digital PS5. So it must be one of those random moments where I'm like, I buy random stuff when I'm bored. You know what I mean? That's a problem. I can't do that when I get married. I can't do that. So, but I got to tell y'all, man, I did visit the comic book store. And I did pick up some comics this week. And I'm gonna tell you, here's the things I got so far, man. I'm highly encourage you guys to get it. If you are a fan of Udon Comics, you definitely want to get your hands on this. This is Street Fighter Masters. Now, this is an edition where it highlights certain Street Fighter characters, and I got the one on Guile, as y'all can see. I got the one on Guile, and also I got the one on Elena. Right, it tells you right at the top. So I do have another Street Fighter Masters, and that's Zangief. So my goal is to get, all the Street Fighter Masters, and these like kind of like one shots in ways, but the Street Fighter Masters is awesome. Like, Udon Comics does phenomenal artwork, and I can tell you straight out, like, you can tell this glossy, very good artwork. It comes out at the pages. It's really, really good. I always was a fan of Udon Comics, so shout out to Udon and the stuff that they got going on over there. Also, what I picked up was Inglorious X-Force. I picked up Inglorious X-Force here, and I know it got a little bit of a glare there. Yeah. There we go. Inglorious X-Force, which I did cover, by the way. I did cover earlier this week, last week or sometime. And if you just so happen to miss that video, go out and check out that video. Not right now. You right here with Saturday Morning Comics first. But after Saturday Morning Comics is over, go ahead and check out the two videos that I posted, Inglorious X-Force. And I did post a video a couple days ago when it came down to X-Men. X-Men issue number 24. So X-Force and X-Men issue number 24 definitely covered. So check that out after the show. And last but not least, I picked up Masters of the Universe. And this is the Sword of Flaws. There you go. I did pick that up. Now, I haven't read this book yet. Now, this is from Dark Horse Comics, but Dark Horse don't really miss. There's no really miss. Like the Eternia War, that was really, really good. So, I mean, the Sword of Flaws shouldn't be any different. It shouldn't be any different. When it comes down to Masters of the Universe, I feel like when it comes to sales and the marketing and advertisement, especially with the trailer being out, yeah, you might want to pick up some comics. There's gonna be some things of value. Look, I had to get me some coffee. I had to wake me up. Perk me up a little bit. These are lies. This, you know what this is? This is Starry. This is Sprite. I feel like Starry and Sprite is kind of like one and the same, but Sprite is a little bit more crispy. Speaking of crispy, I posted something on my Facebook that said I saw someone post that McDonald's Sprite is 5% Sprite and 95% jumper cables. And I cannot stop thinking about that. And that's true, because I got a McDonald's Sprite yesterday, and man, that thing was crispy. That was a crispy Sprite. Love Sprite from McDonald's. But now we got to talk about our indie comic book of the week, man. And the comic book that I am going to talk about is Roots of Madness by Stephanie Williams. This is it right here. Roots of Madness. I know there's a glare in here, but yeah, there you go. Yeah, Roots of Madness by Stephanie Williams. And I did read the first two issues of Roots of Madness. And issue number 3 is out right now. And I'm telling you, this book is really, really good, man. If you like mystery with a little bit of got a horror aspect to it, Roots of Madness is definitely one of those ones, man. Definitely one of those ones. But I will tell you that the story centers around Etta Knight, and Etta is the one that is featured right here on this front cover. So Etta practices science and medicine. She mixes different chemicals together. She's somewhat of a chemist, and she's been taught by her mother. Her mother taught her the ways of making different medicines and mixing and certain cures or whatever the case may be, because people used to come by and see her mom and her, and as they mix and, you know, pretty much cure people. And honestly and truly, when you really think about it, is that that's her and her mother right there. That's her and her mother right there. Like teaching her the final points. And she like, you know, remember, Etta, medicine is more than just mixing things together. It's about understanding how they speak to each other, like how Yarrow tells Feverfew to work harder. And she's like, that's right. And sometimes they'll tell us things we're not ready to hear. So as he teaches her in the final points of medicine, there was a mention of a particular flower. And with this flower, it has like certain healing properties. Now, according to her mom thinks it's no longer existent. Like it is no longer out there. It's a myth at this point. And Etta grows up. Like Etta grows up and runs her own medicine shop. And this is like where she's being taught like certain issues and stuff like that. Like when it came down to the book that she has, it's a book that's been passed down from her grandmother to her mother. And now it goes to her because her dad, Joseph, actually gave her the book. And in this book, it had like certain recipes for certain medicines and stuff. So it's no different than, I think it harks back on history because, you know, I grew up in the country and there's certain home remedies that is not in drugstores or anything like that. There's certain things that my grandmother made. There's certain things that my aunts and my mom made. And this what brought back a memory of this. And I'm like, man, this is kind of, it goes back to that. And Stephanie Williams is the writer for this. Like Stephanie is the writer for this, and it's by Ignition Press. Now the thing is, you cannot find it on Global Comics. It's not on Global Comics at all. You can go to Ignition Press. You can go to Stephanie Williams' website. You can go to ignitionpress.com and you can find this book, issue 1, 2, and 3, and they will mail it to you. Now I did like a YouTube short and a reel and TikTok video of me unwrapping issue number 1 of Roots of Madness, right? And man, the way they package things, man, because they put it like in this black wrapper, but it's held together by a key, hence Ignition Press, right? So when you rip it open, it comes in that package. It don't just like, here's a brown paper bag, put the comic book in a clear plastic bag and put it in a brown paper bag and mail it. It ain't nothing like that. They gave you some kind of presentation when they give you a comic book. So shout out to Ignition Press. Matter of fact, Ignition Press got another comic too that's actually out on TV, and it's called The Beauty. The Beauty is on TV. But either way. The thing is with this is that Etta gets an invitation to join the Meridian Fellowship in Savannah, Georgia. Now, the thing is with this is that with Meridian, they have access to things that normal people don't have access to. So with Etta mixing and making medicines for the people that's in town, Meridian actually gives her access to like better access to things. And she also has the book. And she also has a necklace that sometimes glow. And that's where the mystery and somewhat of the horror comes in at, because she ends up with a assistant named Solomon Pierce. Now, Solomon Pierce is her assistant when it comes down to research, and something about Meridian, right? Something about the Meridian Fellowship is kind of odd. It's kind of eerie that I can't 100% trust it. Can't really put my finger on it. I feel like when it comes down to Miss Jewel, which is the person that gave her the invitation to join the Meridian Fellowship, she has ulterior motives. Like, she has ulterior motives. Don't know what it is quite yet, but it has to involve that flower. And will that flower be found in issue number 2? I don't want to spoil that for you. Maybe, maybe not. But I will tell you that one thing that her mom said, that Etta mom said, is like, sometimes medicine tells you what works with what, and sometimes it tells you things you're not really ready to hear. And I think that lesson will transfer over to future stories in Roots of Madness. But Roots of Madness is really, really good. Really, really good. It had me from page to page. It had me hanging on to every other word. And then when I go back and reread it, Roots of Madness, it's some things that I missed. And I'm like, damn, I forgot about that, because there was one point where Etta had a customer walked in and she said, yeah, you remind me of your mother, and your mother was being watched. It was something of that nature, right? And Etta was like, excuse me? And then, the elderly lady caretaker was like, nah, she just says random things. No. I need to know what exactly is going on. So that's part of that too. Also, what made Etta come up with that, like to make a decision to join the Meridian Fellowship, is that there was this guy that was going around selling certain products to young black girls where, hey, we're going to make your hair more luxurious, make your hair grow, whatever. But the chemicals was imbalanced. It was a little bit more a lie than it was something else. And it made women's hair thin out or have bald spots in their hair. So she took that medicine, and then she joins the Meridian Fellowship to figure out a way to actually make the hair grow back. So it comes down to a bevy of things. It comes down to, black women's hair, practicing medicine, especially in that time period, how sacred certain things are, because if you go to the Meridian Fellowship, it is pretty much, black scientists and black philosophers having access to certain things, because on that train ride from where they came from to Savannah, they had a whole cart to themselves. And in that time period, that is unheard of, because Etta is shouting like, wait a minute, you got a whole cart? So I'm like, yeah, you could do a lot of stuff for money. Like, and we got it. You know what I'm saying? We got the money. Like, don't even worry about that. We got access to things that, don't even worry about all the extra stuff. We are helping out our people by having access to things that normal people don't have access to. So it's like a secret society. It's a little mysterious. There's horror elements in it. There's supernatural elements in it. And you will see exactly what I talk about, like, when it comes down to this book. So, Ignition Press, or you can go to Stephanie Williams or follow Stephanie Williams on Threads, and you would definitely get your hands on Roots of Madness. Now, Roots of Madness is really, really, really good, man. Really, really good. I had to reread it. I got to get issue number 3. It's already out right now. Issue number 3 is already out, so go ahead and check that out. Roots of Madness is, don't miss out. Don't miss out. Don't be one of those ones. Don't be one of those ones. Okay? From Etta Knight to Joshua to her mom Rose to Miss Jewel to Solomon Pierce, all these characters got layers, man. All these characters got layers, and it makes you go back to history a little bit and how, our black matter of fact. When you really think about it, if you watch the movie Sinners, right? There was a particular character in Sinners that practiced medicine and hoodoo, not voodoo, but hoodoo, did certain medicines to heal people in certain areas because that was their only doctor. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it's kind of like a bite off of that a little bit. But Stephanie Williams is in her bag. Stephanie Williams is in her bag. And what I mean by that, being in her bag, she is not done. Because from that standpoint, we get Wonder Woman issue number 29. Like, she is writing this. And this is out right the piss now. And then you might think to yourself, like, Ham, do you got this book? Yes, I got this book. I got this book right here. Wonder Woman issue number 29. Ladies and gentlemen, man, this is really good. And I hope she stays on. I hope she stays on to write this a little bit longer, man. I think what's going on is Tom King taking a little bit of a break. And what better person to, take the spot of Tom King is Stephanie Williams. And Stephanie's, like I said, she is in her bag and what this book is about. So the first question is, can you get by just reading this particular issue, starting with this issue on, without reading all the stuff from Tom King? Yeah and no, right? Because at some point or another, you're going to wonder where this baby come from. You know what I'm saying? Where this baby come from. And you got to go back a few issues to find out where exactly this baby came from. You know what I'm saying? Where exactly this baby come from. So, you gotta figure that part out. I will go back to read DC All In. That way you get a better understanding of what exactly is going on in issue number 29 and the level of exhaustion that Wonder Woman actually has. And she goes to Paradise Island of Themyscira and she runs across Nubia. You know, that's Nubia. Now, if you have not read Nubia, which is also written by Stephanie Williams, go out there and read Nubia. My fiance actually has Nubia. I realized that might be the first comic book that she ever read. So the fact that it came by, you know, a black woman, Stephanie Williams, whom she met face to face, and she got hooked up with some books, that speaks volumes to me. You know what I'm saying? Because she's not really a big comic book reader like that. But since Nubia was her first book that she read, she's very, very familiar with Stephanie Williams and her work. But yes, so it says without saying it that Diana is exhausted. Right? She has her baby. And to put it in context, like Steve Trevor has been murdered, right? And in DC All In, she's been mourning like a good 75% of that issue, right? And she went to go see Trevor, like she went to go see him, like as he's on the boat, and they said their final goodbyes. But from that standpoint, she gets back to, you know, I won't say the real world, but the regular world, and then she creates this baby, and which was named after Trevor's like grandmother, if I'm not mistaken. So she's been holding on to this baby, and she's like the future. She's like the future Wonder Woman kind of thing. And she's been carrying this baby, doing all the things, and she's just exhausted. And you know, you're supposed to be Wonder Woman, right? Well, that's how she view herself. She's supposed to be Wonder Woman. She's supposed to hold on to all those things. Hey, look. Martin, see what Martin knows what's going on. Martin knows he knows ball. Martin knows ball. Martin knows ball. Martin knows ball, man. But yeah, so she goes see Nubia, but Nubia is not really the only person that's, you know, actually there. There's Nubia, there's Yara Flor, there's Cassie Sandsmark, Donna Troy, all these people that has been impacted, you know, Diana's life. They're like, no. See, you are here to have the mental capacity to say you need help. Everybody needs help sometimes. Nobody can't shoulder the burden alone. Nobody can do that. You're always going to need friends. So there's certain messaging in issue number 29. I think really, I know it's more so from a female standpoint, from a woman's standpoint, but that also speaks volumes to everybody else. Like, you can't just shoulder the burden by yourself. You're always going to need help for somebody. And considering the fact that Diana has friends and family, it's like, no, you go do what you need to do. Like, go take a mental break. Go do what you got to do over here. We got this. We can watch the baby. We can watch our niece. Like, you know what I'm saying? We can watch our niece. We can like train her, show her certain ways, like fight in front of her because she's a future warrior. You know, stuff like that. Like, don't worry about us. Like, put the baby in our care. Take care of yourself. And when you're ready to come back, we got you. And I like the fact that, you know, when Stephanie took this helm, that she highlights, you know, Cassie, Donna, Yara, Nubia. Like, she's highlighting everybody else outside of like Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? So this is really, to me, an issue about strength. You know, knowing when to say I need help, knowing when to lean on family, and taking care of yourself mentally and physically. And that's really what this, for me, that's really what this book is about. And like that, this little section right here, like, what does she need? She like this. She'll have 6 of the fiercest women in existence fighting over who gets to help her. Now go do what you need to do. And the name of this book, the title of this book is The Village, because you need a village. Sometimes you need a village with that. So, phenomenal book. I really don't want to spoil this for you because there's another character at play. There's an antagonist at play. And this is only part 1, y'all. This is only part 1. This book is really good. It's really good. Now, issue number 29 is out right now. If you go to your local comic book store, go ahead and cop that. You know what I'm saying? If it just so happened to be sold out, because I got a sneaky suspicion that it might be, that you might have to deal with some second printing kind of situations, you can always go to Kindle. You can always go to the DC Universe app. I want to say it's on DC Universe app, but it's on Kindle for sure, Comixology. If you own Commissage, you can always buy it digitally and read it from that standpoint. You always read it from that standpoint. But man, this book here is really, really, really good. Really good, man. And Nubia is like, look, the child spirit is strong, but like you, Diana, she's also depleted. In all histories, the greatest warriors knew when to rest. Achilles had his tent. Even Athena retreated to Olympus. And you have us. Like that, this line right here, trying to tell Diana, like, yo, like, go on over there with that. We got a baby. We good. We good. Go do your thing. And so I think it speaks volumes to women in general, on how hard it is to like admit that you need help with something because you had to shoulder the burden with other things in life. You know what I mean? So I think it has many layers. Really good book, y'all. Really good book. Highly recommend. Local comic book store, y'all. Local comic book store. Go ahead and check that out. Pretty sure if you are in Florence, it's Galactic Comics. If you're in Columbia, you got Scratch and Span, you got Heroes and Dragons, you got Cosmic Rays, you got all those comics. If you in other areas of the nation, I know, go to your LCS. Check it out. See if you can find this. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Gundam, right? And I was going to talk about this a couple weeks ago. And I had the privilege and the honor of going to see a double feature of Gundam. I saw Endless Waltz, which was the main event for me in the movie theater, as well as Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans Uther. And both was good. Now, I saw the Iron Blooded Orphans, I wouldn't say spin-off. Yeah, let's just say spin-off. Spin-off first, right? I saw that first. And the main character of this was this guy right here. It was good. It was a good book. I mean, not good book. It was a good movie. It was like a good hour and some change. And I'm not going to hold you. I was really there for Endless Waltz. I was really there for Endless Waltz. I ain't going to hold you. I was really there for Endless Waltz. What's funny about this, though, is that this wasn't really a double feature. This was 2 movies and a short, because after this movie was over, which was a good movie, by the way, So with this Iron Blooded Orphans, they were going after these rings, right? And you collect these rings, you get a exorbitant amount of money, and then you can pay for certain things. And his dream was to like buy this certain city and have it as a sanctuary. And honestly, you do see some characters from Iron Blooded Orphans this show. You do see some characters for that. You don't see the main character, obviously, but you see some other characters that you see in the main show. And that kind of like connects the dots a little bit because it's all in one big universe. It's just that, you know, with this character here, he's somewhere else, and the main character for IBO is somewhere else. And I don't know which time period this takes place, before or after the events. But either way though, the aesthetic is still the same. It's not like over the top, like beam rifles all over the place, and you know, Principality of Xeon. It's nothing like that. It's really, in a sense, it's kind of grassroots because it's a lot of clanging and banging when it comes to mech fights. And I think that's what kind of makes Iron Blooded Orphans unique. You know, it wasn't super over the top like all the other Gundam shows that we have seen in the past. So this has its own charm. This movie wasn't bad. Obviously, it felt rushed at certain points, and I feel like this could have been a series, really, if to expand more on that. But still yet, good movie nonetheless. But also the short was really Iron Blooded Orphans short. And the name escapes me right now, but he's one of the characters, darker skin, the gray hair, and he got a suit for the first time, right? Like they won a fight and then won the money, and they went ahead, his crew went ahead and got him a suit, because hey man, you supposed to be our leader, dog. So you got to look the part. And it's only the short was only might be 10 minutes, might be 10, 15 minutes, maybe 15 minutes at best, right? So then it didn't go from one movie to short, then the movie. It went from the movie to short, and then they had an interview with the producers and like the director for Endless Waltz, and they start talking in English because with the first movie it was subbed. You know, it was like English subbed. It wasn't like an English dub. And then you're like, wait a minute, because some people was like looking confused in the in the movie theaters, like, yo, I didn't pay for it. English sub, and I'm like, nah, it don't make no difference to me. You know, I'm anime head through and through. It is what it is. But they did like the interview with the directors, the producers, like with the English translation and stuff like that. So now it kind of lets you know that okay, Endless Waltz is going to be a dub, right? It's going to be an English dub. So seeing Endless Waltz in the movie theater, bro, was amazing. Was amazing. I mean, I can't really describe it. It's just the movie theater experience. It's just the aesthetic. To see it on the big screen in the movie theater, just hanging out with like-minded people like yourself, watching some anime. And it's been so long since I've seen Endless Waltz. It's been a little minute. And what would have made this thing sing is if you released it around the Christmas holidays. If you did this around the Christmas holidays, Endless Waltz would have been dope to see in December. Dope to see. Because a lot of people, especially in the anime space, says Endless Waltz is a Christmas movie. It does take place around the holidays. You know what I mean? It does take place around that. And also, it did like the 40th anniversary advertiser that we all seen. They did it on the big screen too, which I really did like. And honestly and truly, if it was up to me, I would do like a remake of Gundam Wing. You know, like a prequel to Gundam Wing or what transpired, what happened. But like with Endless Waltz, it kind of gives you a backdrop or backstory on each of the characters, like Troa and Hiro and Duo, you know, and Katra and Wu Fei. It gives you all those little background stories on how they came to be the pilots of their, you know, respective Gundams, right? So Endless Waltz is a really good movie. Like I said, the aesthetic is really good, hand-drawn animation. It got a little bit of CGI to it too. But at the same time, though, at the same time, it was just a sight to see on the big screen. A sight to see on the big screen. I cannot express that enough. And it was like a Fathom event. Now, when it comes down to these Fathom events, you have to go online. Like, you have to go to FATHOM and see certain events because they might have some Studio Ghibli stuff. Like, you don't know what anime that they're going to show on TV. And it shows like on an obscure day, like on a Tuesday or a Thursday or something like that. Hence the event part, you know? And typically the movie theater is not crowded. It wasn't crowded where I was. But still, yeah, just to attend that event was a great experience. It was a great experience. If you are a movie buff and you like the cinematography of it all when it comes, and you are an anime head, or just any kind of movie head or whatever the case may be, I highly encourage you guys to go out here and check those Fathom events. Go like the Fathom.com, Google Fathom, and see what's the next event is. And just schedule that event so you can go check it out. Because that's the last time I actually been in a movie theater to see the Gundam double feature. To see that. So, the next thing we are definitely going to talk about is Masters of the Universe, man. Masters of the Universe had their trailer. And Master Universe He-Man. So, I'll say that's kind of like perfect casting right there. That's pretty good casting of Prince Adam. You know, some people like complaining about his size. You know, like he's not this big buff guy or whatever the case would be. I'm not really hung up on that. It is what it is at that point. And listen, this right here though, what stood out to me, Skeletor. You know what I'm saying? Skeletor looked phenomenal right here, man. Like this looks great. Absolutely, positively great. Now, the fact that it's on Jared Leto, because it feels like anything Jared Leto touches just goes to shit. But if he's behind this mask, cool. We ain't got to see his face. You know what I'm saying? So just keep it at that. Just keep it at that. You know, but Skeletor, man, I think this is what really stood out to me above anything else was how Skeletor looked. Because there is a old He-Man Masters of the Universe movie with Dolph Lundgren, and not very good. It's a cult classic. Yes, it is a cult classic. It is cheesy. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go see it, I want to say it's on Amazon Prime. I want to say it's on Amazon Prime. I could be wrong with that. I could be wrong with that. But either way it goes, like this is the trailer itself is leaps and bounds, like leaps and bounds better than the old movie in itself. Now, the thing is, like Man in Arms, right? Man in Arms. Like you ain't had to do my boy hair like that. Idris Elba, you ain't had to do his hair like that. But they sticking the landing with this. Like the costumes and all that, they are sticking the landing with this. So my gripe to this is you really didn't have to involve Earth. You didn't really have to involve Earth like that. I don't think you had to. You know, the story could have easily been, you know, Prince Adam was, you know, whisked away because Skeletor took over or whatever the case may be. And he grew up as a kid and Skeletor never knew where he was. And, you know, a la Lion King in a way, you know, and he's being trained by, you know, Man in Arms and, you know, everyone else in between. You know what I'm saying? Like Orko, which we have not seen yet. We have not seen yet. And if he's going to appear, well, how he's going to look. But we've seen some remakes, though. We've seen some remakes. Like we've seen the Netflix Masters of the Universe, which is good, by the way. And we did see He-Man Masters of the Universe because I think they did 2 remakes on Netflix, right? So if you haven't checked those out, I highly encourage you guys to actually go check that out. But when it comes to Masters of the Universe, you could have just left Earth out of that. You know, you could have just, you know, gone with that. You know, he could have went off to another planet. Master of the Universe could have been in a whole universe by itself. You didn't really have to involve us kind of thing. But I can see why they went that route. But you didn't have to go that route, if that makes sense. That's not going to kill the movie for me. That's not going to kill the movie for me at all. I think a lot of people was concerned about this movie on how it's going to look because they got that bad taste of the Dolph Lundgren He-Man Masters of the Universe. Like I said, it's a cult classic. Some people like it. Listen, I like Street Fighter with Jean-Claude Van Damme. I know for a fact that is a terrible movie, but I like that movie for whatever reason. So same rule applies for Masters of the Universe for some people, right? With Dolph Lundgren. They like the movie. They know the movie's trash, but at the same time, they like that movie. So, but it's time for a better movie. We got better technology. We got better cinematography. We got, you know, better angles. You know what I'm saying? How things look, aesthetics. So to say they got these costumes down to the letter is really, really good. And I think it's going to speak to, you know, the certain generation that grew up in the 80s and 90s and watching He-Man as a cartoon or Masters of the Universe as a cartoon. And will She-Ra be featured in this? Or maybe she be a part of like this after credit scene. We never know. We never know. Just to see those things. This movie is going to do very well. That's my estimation. This movie is going to do exceptionally well. Especially how it looks. Like I said, how it looks. And, you know, like I said, like with Skeletor, how he looks, this movie's going to do well. And I think it's going to be like an expansive universe. This can go off to something else. You can go, and there's certain stories, right? Like I've read the Eternal War, right? This thing can expand into other things where Skeletor and He-Man might have to align themselves to take out a common enemy. There's a lot of stories that can be written for Masters of the Universe. There's a lot of story that can be made. You don't have to do a one-off. It's a lot of sequels that can be made with this. A whole nother universe altogether. Whole nother universe. The action in this looks real good. So I think this, like I said, I think this movie is going to be successful. I don't think this movie is going to flop. I think for nostalgia purposes, that is probably the number one reason why this movie is going to be successful, because it's going to be people in their 40s and 50s in the front row. Like, you know what I'm saying? Front to back, taking their kids like, this is what I used to watch on Saturday mornings. He-Man Masters of the Universe, which, by the way, I want to say that's on Tubi. I want to say the old cartoon is on Tubi, along with Centurions, Pirates of Dark Water, other things. King Arthur and the Knights of Justice, just FYI. But, yeah, I don't think this movie's going to flop. Just by the trailer alone, it already got piqued interest. I already got people interested in what's going on. We'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. But I got high hopes for this movie. So we're going to leave it at that. We're going to leave it at that, man. Definitely leave it at that. So the next thing we are going to talk about is there is a crossover on the horizon. There is a crossover event on the horizon. Obviously, we did Batman and Deadpool. But this one is going to be Marvel's Spider-Man and Superman crossover event, man. And cannot wait to talk about this. And I'm definitely going to get my hands on this. And this is by Brian Michael Bendis, Pepe Larraz, Geoff Lawrence. Now it says, now it's Marvel's time for their Spider-Man, Superman crossover to follow DC Comics Superman, Spider-Man version in March. And annoyingly, also being number 1 instead of number 2, which will just be confusing of casual readers, as it was Deadpool, Batman number 1, and Batman Deadpool number 1, with stories by Brad Meltzer, Brian Michael Bendis, Pepe Larraz, Geoff Lawrence, Dan Slott, Jason Aaron, Russell Dauterman, Joe Kelly, Humberto Ramos, Sarah Pichelli, Luis Simonson, Todd Nauck, Gary Frank, Marcos Martin, and more for April. Now, these are some of the covers, right? And I can tell you right off top which covers I want. This cover right here, I'm going to get that right there. And Mark says, I'm optimistic about Masters of the Universe, but Jared Leto has a rough task record. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He has a rough track record. Hopefully he stay behind the mask. Hopefully you stay behind the mask, man. That's the best I can tell you. Hopefully you stay behind the mask. But yeah, so for me, I'm interested in this cover right here, the Miles Morales cover. I'm definitely doing that one. And it says to quote, following the massive success of last year's Deadpool Batman and celebrating the 50th anniversary of Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man, which is also a comic from back in the day, the first ever Marvel/DC crossover, Marvel and DC Comics unite again this April in Marvel's Spider-Man/Superman number 1. Like last year's crossover, fans can look forward to a double dose of history-making comic book storytelling, with DC publishing a separate one-shot, Superman, Spider-Man in March. The lead story with Spider-Man and Superman join forces will be written by New York Times best-selling author Brad Meltzer in his full-length Marvel Comics story and drawn by one of Marvel's most acclaimed artists, Pepe Larraz. In addition, the one-shot will feature various bonus stories by a monumental lineup of industry talent, each co-starring Marvel and DC characters, including a few surprises readers will be talking about for the next 50 years. Now, that's kind of like an ad. That's a plug. That's a plug right here. Look at that. You got Miles Morales and Superboy. You got Supergirl and Spider-Gwen. You got Spider-Man Noir and like an older version of Spider-Man. That looks like Spider-Man, older version of Superman. And they kind of look like the Max Fletcher Superman. But either way, threw up in a way, Brad Meltzer and Pepe Larraz pit Spider-Man and Superman against Lex Luthor and Norman Osborn as their greatest villains exploit some of their greatest weaknesses. Now, in a shadow late 1930s, Spider-Man Noir encounters the original Golden Age Superman as told by Dan Slott and Marcos Martin. And this is it right here. And it says the industry powerhouse Geoff Johns delivers his first Marvel story in over 20 years, teaming up with frequent collaborator and fellow superstar Gary Frank. A crisis ensues as hit creative team bring the Super and Spider families against each other at the summits of Mysterio. But is their true foe and ally out of control? The other one is symbiote hordes invade Metropolis as the War of the Realms ignites. And Jason Aaron and Russell Dauterman's epic reunion, starring Jane Foster as the Mighty Thor, Wonder Woman, and more. So I'm with that 110%. I'm with that 110%. This is it right here. That's the story that it's talking about. The next one is co-creator of Steel, Louise Simonson and artist Todd Nauck hammer out the tale of John Henry Irons' clash with the Hobgoblin. So that might be, let's see, that might be it right here. This might be it right here. That might be the one right here. So it also says Spider-Man's Miles Morales teams up with Superman in a tale by Miles' legendary co-creators Brian Michael Bendis, who recently made his grand return to Marvel, and Sarah Pichelli. This one, I'm definitely going to get this one because this reminds me of Spider-Man Revenge of the Sinister Six. And that was Eric Larson. And there was an issue where Spider-Man looked just like this. And I thought this was like the coolest thing ever, where he had like the cybernetic cast. Like, this Spider-Man looked great, dog. And I have that book somewhere here, Spider-Man Revenge of the Sinister Six. But I wish I had the older book, because I did have the older book, you know, way back when. And somehow it got like messed up. But I got the hardback of Spider-Man Revenge of the Sinister Six. Really good story. I did cover issue number 1 way back when. Maybe I should finish that out. We'll see. Also, it says, I quote, I've been waiting 50 years to write this book. Meltzer shares Superman and Spider-Man have affected me more than most real people. I carried them with me everywhere, and our story cuts to the core of what it means to be a good person. I'm honored that Nick Lowe and everyone at Marvel even asked. Just wait until you see Pepe's work. Get your capes and web shooters ready. Everyone here at Marvel is excited to be reteaming with our friends at DC for another colossal crossover. This time to celebrate the 50th anniversary of our two icons, Spider-Man and Superman, first teaming up. Editor-in-Chief CB Sobolski added, I can't wait for fans for every generation to read these spectacular stories that our Titanic talent are telling, featuring all new, easily accessible stories about the ever-growing Spider-Man and Superman families meeting for the first time. So there's a couple covers, like I said. This cover right here, I want. This cover right here, I want. I want the Steel Thor one. I do want that one as well. And obviously, Hammer. You know, we see what it is. We see what it is. This one right here, I'm really down for that too. I really did like this one. And it also says that with the covers of Pepe Larraz and Sarah Pichelli and Walter Simonson, Greg Capullo, Marcus Martin, Ryan Stegman, Pete Momoko, Eric Larson, Jerome Opina, Russell Dauterman, along with wraparound cover by Kari Andrews, the foil cover by Mark Bagley, and logo mashup variant cover. This right here, ooh, this is definitely on the list. Go ahead and get your pre-orders in. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and get your order in. Go ahead and call your LCS. These are the covers that I'm looking for. This is one of those ones, right? Like the Spider-Man, I'm going to tell you right now, the Spider-Man Superman crossover is going to sell like freaking hotcakes. You understand? This is going to sell like hotcakes. But I do have a critique and a request. In the Batman Deadpool crossover, there were some stories that should have gotten more pages, and there's other stories that shouldn't have as much pages. Like the Wonder Woman Captain America one, I felt like they needed more pages. I felt like it probably needed its own book. I want to say Harley Quinn and Hulk didn't need that much. It didn't need that much. Like the I think the Lobo Wolverine. No, the amalgam. The amalgam one. Yeah. I could do without it. So I think really flesh out the stories more. You got time to cook. Like let these people, let these artists, these writers, everybody cook. Give people the time. Give people the pages that's needed for this book. Okay? Like there's certain stories that we want more of. So go ahead and put that out there. So, but this thing gonna sell like crazy. This gonna sell like crazy. What's funny about it is I want to say I had the old Spider-Man, Superman, like crossover event, but I do not have it. I went looking for it in like the boxes that I got back here. I do have crossover events. I got Batman Spawn. I got Batman Spider-Man. I got Daredevil Batman. Do not have Superman and Spider-Man. Do not have that. I thought I had it when I went to a comic book convention, but I'm pretty sure the price of those books is going to be sky high once this comes out. I don't think it's going to drop down the value of the original. I think it's going to increase the value of the original. So, but like this cover here, I really do want. This cover, I really do want. This cover right here, I really do want. The Miles Morales Superman one, I want that one, and this one right here where it's jumping out at the pages. Go ahead and save your money. Go ahead and save your money, dog. Go ahead and save your money. That's. Hey, listen. Save your money. Save your money. because when this time comes, when March comes, because March going to be here faster than anything. Like January is over. Like this month is over already. It felt like it was a long ass month because of certain events that's been going on. You know what I'm saying? But you know, this month is already over. It's already February. It's already Black History Month. It's already Black History Month, cuz that's where we at with it. That's where. Oh. Wait a minute. Now, let me stop sharing for a second. So, speaking of, we got to go to in stock trading right quick. We got to do the in stock trades now. In stock trades is this website that gives you like trade paperbacks, trade hardbacks, and you can actually order it online and see what's out there. Now, there's one particular book that is out, and it is a hard cover, and I got to show you since it's Black History Month. You know, might as well say it's Black History Month. I did cover this. On this channel, and this is DC Power Rise of DC Power Rise of the Power Company. That is a mouthful. Okay, so this by Brian Edward Hill, various Kyrie Randolph, Aletha Martinez, Kyrie Randolph, a new team helmed by Black Lightning, witnessed the debut of a team for a new era as the Power Company is reinvented, with Black Lightning leading the charge to inspire hope for a new generation. After years on the sideline, superpowered lawyer Josiah Power is back in action as he sets out to revive the Power Company. Superhero team to fight back against the rise of anti-meta-human sentiment and following the events of absolute power. Now, his first recruit, Jefferson Pierce, a.k.a. Black Lightning, setting up shop in Atlanta, Georgia. The Power Company recruits Batman, Jace Fox, the Signal, Vixen, for its inaugural mission to take down the serial killer on the hunt for metahumans. Now, this collection contains DC Power Rise of the Power Company, the Power Company Recharge, and the Power Company Josiah Power is the must-have for readers wanting to get in on at the ground floor for DC. Now, I'm going to just tell you, there's been no other books after this. But the initial price for this is $10.79. Original was $17.99. You save 40%. So if you add this to your list, you can actually buy this book. It'll come to you in the mail. It is a hardback cover. Yes, I am going to get this book. It is on the way. And it's 120 pages. It's 120 pages. You can get it. So I want to say I have all the single issues, but just to, go out here and say, hey guys, I got this. Now I want to say Black Lightning. Oops, I misspelled that. I definitely misspelled that. Let's see. There we go. Black Lightning. So there's this one right here. This is a trade paperback. And I want to say this is out right now. So if you want now this one collects Black Lightning issue number 1 through 5. And a stories from DC Saved by the Bell Reeve, number 1, DC Power 2024, number 1, and DC Power Rise of the Power Company, number 1. So you're going to get some of those issues in DC Power Rise of the Power Company hardback cover. But if you get Black Lightning, yeah, you're going to see some repeats. But at the same time, for the price of $10.79, trade paperback, if you want that in your library, just in your physical possession, yeah, I would say go get this book. So for $20, you get Black Lightning and DC Power Rise of the Power Company hardcover. I would say go ahead and get that. I will go ahead and get that. Now there is another book. That's coming out, and I find it ironic that it is coming out Black History Month. It comes out the day after my birthday. And it's called The New History of DC, the Dakota Incident. And let's see. I gotta find it. New History of the DC Universe. And just give me 1 second. I gotta go ahead and find that thing for you, man, because it comes out 2/25/26. 2/25/26. And I want to say I did cover this on Saturday Morning Comics, the Dakota Incident. And it's like issue number 1. Yep, there it goes. All right. So there we go. All right. So, yeah, spinning out of the pages of the new history of the DC universe uncovered an old-told moment in DC history where murder leads to an all-out war between the heroes of Dakota City and the U.S. government. As their home becomes a battlefield, what must Static, Rocket, and others sacrifice to keep their loved ones safe? Now, this is one of the covers, okay? This is one of the covers. This person right here who I talked about that got Roots of Madness and Wonder Woman issue number 25, that is Stephanie Williams. That is Stephanie Williams. But the new history of DC with the Dakota incident, with the milestone characters, yeah, might want to cop that. That is the day after my birthday, and that is on Black History Month. And I find it ironic that DC always does this on Black History Month and not any other month. But I'm gonna still get this book. I'm gonna still get this book. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm gonna still get this book. Like it's no bones about that. It no bones about that. Like I'm gonna get this book, and I'm not beating those charges. I'm not beating those charges. Like why are you supporting this book? Nah, you got to. You got to support that book, man. Because basically, if you read the new history of DC, it touches on the Dakota incident. It does touch on the milestone characters, and it does put the milestone characters in the main DC continuity. You know what I mean? Because there is a book out like Batman Beyond Static that has Static grown and Batman Beyond more mature, and they're on adventures together. So this is kind of like the main continuity kind of thing. It integrating that in all together. So there is other covers, and I hope to see. I want to say I've seen those on Threads, and I know I'm getting off the reservation here. But I gotta tell y'all about this. I gotta put y'all on. Let me see. New history of DC incident, the Dakota incident. Now come on, give me those. Yeah, there we go. All right, so that's one cover, right? That's another cover, right? That one right there, getting that, copping that, getting that, man. I want that cover. Give me that cover, man. Well, all of the milestone characters on the front, and yeah. These are some of the covers right here. That one looks good too. It kind of got that old logo, and I'm not really with that. But Icon and Superman, that's pretty cool. So really, the only two covers I really want is this one. I want this A cover, and I want this cover right here, and I'll be good. So I think what I would do though, and it's just me spitballing. And I would suggest to, like, y'all get those covers. Y'all buy it digitally to read, and then y'all frame those new history, the DC Dakota incident, and like put it on the wall, man. Because I think that's what I'm gonna do with some of the black comics that I do have, like Roots of Madness and Doom, that's written by Sanford Green, the Bitterroot. I think that's what I'm gonna do, like, you know, frame it like on the wall and stuff like that. But definitely want to jump into that. So the next thing we definitely going to talk about is let's see, the upcoming comic coverage. Man, say that 3 times fast. Upcoming comic coverage. There we go. And there's a good bit of comics that I do want to cover with you guys. And this is all Marvel. But there's one of them that's DC, and that's DCKO Boss Battle. And let me share screen this real quick. So what I'm gonna do is give y'all, start doing the Saturday morning comics, to give y'all up close and personal. So what I probably will be doing is talking about Magic and Colossus for Saturday morning comics next week. I definitely will be covering this week. So the minute this thing drops, so look for this thing on Thursday. Look for Storm on Thursday. Okay. I've been waiting on Storm to come back in her glory. You understand? That's honestly, that's probably one of the most watched videos on my channel because people are gravitating towards Storm's solo series because she is killing it. She is killing it, man. I credit Storm for my viewer count, and I credit her for the mass amount of subscribers that I've gotten, and I credit her for that. I definitely credit her for that. As the character, but I couldn't wait to cover her, and I really do enjoy her story. They took a break because of the whole Age of Revelation bullshit, so they did do that, right? They did do that, and I don't want no parts of that. So next comic is obviously Uncanny X-Men. They got another part called Where Monsters Dwell, and Wolverine versus Alpha Flight, and that's kind of like ongoing coverage from that. But there is a DCKO boss battle that I'm going to cover mainly because it got some obscure characters in it, and I'm gonna pull that up for you. I thought I had it up already. DCKO boss battle. Yeah. Okay. So, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull that up for you guys. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, DCKO boss battle. Now, it says to save our world, they must battle the champions of other worlds and unexpected fighters from beyond the DC universe enter the arena. Wait, now who? As the remaining champions in KO tournament prepare for their final rounds, they discover that there isn't enough Omega energy left to crown the winner of King Omega. To have any hope of stopping Darkseid, they need to engage to combat with champions of other worlds beyond our own, including Annabelle from the horror movies, Annabelle, Homelander, Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero and more, and this shocking star-studded crossover sets the stage for the final chapters of the epic DCKO event and features matchups you never imagined possible. The ultimate battle is only beginning. So, yes. So, I look for Storm this Thursday. And look for DCKO boss battle, Saturday or Sunday. Just looks for that, okay? And it's going to be Wolverine versus Alpha Flight. There's going to be some other stuff, but this is really the only book I'm kind of interested in because I told you guys that DCKO had me in a chokehold at first because they had the tournament brackets. They looked like the March Madness brackets. You had people lined up who's going to face who, one-on-one battles, and it was going to go in like in tournament mode kind of thing, right? But the first two issues was like a battle royal, and whatever tournament bracket that they gave us was bullshit because it's like, why did we have this in the first place? You completely went off the reservation. So it turned me off of the event. It really did. It turned me off the event, and I really got disinterested in the book in totality. However, when it came down to this particular spinoff, I was wondering where they was going to put these other characters, where they was going to put Annabelle, where they was going to put Sub-Zero, where they was going to put Homelander, where they was going to put all these other characters and how they're going to fit them in DCKO and what part they did play. And this is really the only book I'm really interested in. This is like 40 pages, one shot, and I will cover that. I will cover that. And what's happening? What is happening, man? Dan's Comic Corner is 25. Nice to see you coming through, man. But yes, that is one of the books I'm definitely going to be covering is DCKO Boss Battle. And I want to say, no, I can't say that's the first DC book for this year because I did cover Batman. Matt Fraction's Batman. Have been covering that. Really have been enjoying that. But at the same time, though, if we really want to get down to nitty gritty, if you go to In Stock Trading, the DC Power Rise of the Power Company, go ahead and get that hardback cover. If you really want to get Black Lightning issue number 1 through 5, the trade paperback is dirt cheap on In Stock Trading, so you go ahead and check that out as well. But I do got some books to cover, and that is Storm. That is definitely going to be it. DC KO Boss Battle issue number 1. They're definitely going to be covering that. Cannot wait to cover that. And just found you and subbed. Oh man, yo, we got another subscriber, y'all. We got another subscriber. Shout out to you, man. Shout out for the support. I'm very much appreciative. Very much appreciative. Very much appreciative, man. I appreciate the love that everybody has been giving me, man. Anytime total transparency. Anytime that I thought about what, man, I don't think it's gonna track well. I might have to pivot to something else. Nah, you guys bring me back every single time. You guys bring me back every single time. Like, true story. Like, this channel was covering everything. We was covering anime. We were covering pro wrestling and stuff like that. But then when I started to cover comic books, man, when I started covering comics, that's really where it went up. That's really where it went up, man. And there's a social media space. I don't want to say it out loud. There's a social media space that I consider my safe space. It's not Twitter. So it's not Twitter. Okay. It's not Twitter, but that I consider like my safe space. And I feel like it's a safe space for other people. And it's kind of like you can create your algorithm kind of thing. And you feel like you can talk how you want to. You know what I'm saying? You can talk how you want to. And the block game is strong. The block game is strong, especially on that social media app. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Dan. You just have to try stuff to find your niche. And my niche is definitely comics, man. And I had a couple guests on the show before. I had Blur Without Fear, had Ernie on the show. I had Stephanie Williams, the one I talked about that's writing Wonder Woman issue number 29 and Roots of Madness and Temporal. She's also writing Temporal as well. So go ahead and check that out. As well as some other comic book artists and writers and stuff like that. Had them on for an interview. So I'm in my right place. I'm in my right place. So I think we are all caught up. We are all caught up on our comic book content for Saturday Morning Comics. Now, I will be back next week. And you already know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. Because when you hit that notification bell, there's a little drop-down box that says all. When you select all, you get notified on all of our content, live or recorded. Now, on our Patreon, you will have access to those videos before they ever get issued on YouTube. Maybe like a day before, 2 days before, what have you. But still yet, though, like you have access to those videos before they ever come out on the YouTube channel. So you have access to that. And yes, I will be doing more work on our Patreon as well. We do have a Discord. The link is in the description below. Go ahead and check out our Discord. We do have a channel for comics called Comics Vault. We do have a channel for anime, as well as pro wrestling, as well as movies, discussions, and stuff like that. So definitely trying to grow the Discord channel, so everybody can have decent, safe conversations and stuff like that. So we'll be back for Saturday Morning Comics next week. But I will say, this won't be live next week. However, it will premiere on Saturday at the same time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So if you go to the video portion of the channel, you will see the premiere at 10 a.m. Eastern time for Saturday Morning Comics. And definitely going to be covering up the latest and greatest news, in the comic journalism space. And definitely going to be giving you my takes on certain comics I've been reading and my visit to the comic book store. So I try to visit the comic book store weekly. Yeah, I pick up certain books or whatever. And as always, I'm going to give you the indie comic of the week and what indie comic that you want to check out. Because, when it comes down to independent comics, I've noticed this. And Blur Without Fear, shout out to Ernie. Now, he said this. He's like, man, we cover some independent comics and it doesn't get as much views as the big two. Like, it doesn't. And that's crazy. But I'm going to give indie comics its space. Like, on Saturday Morning Comics, I'm always going to give you the indie comic of the week. What to read, where to read it, and, how to support, that kind of thing. And also, reading is fundamental. And I try my best not to spoil it, for it. And I don't want it to be a channel where I spoon feed you like certain information. You know what I mean? I'm going to give you my personal review on the book and tell you to go out and support that book and everything else in between. Now, Erskmac issue number 24, I wasn't super nice about that. I wasn't super mean either. But I gave careful criticism. Adjectiveless X-Men, issue number 24. I gave careful criticism because we don't need a rinse and repeat. We don't need that. We don't need that. We definitely don't need that. Definitely don't need that. But I hope you guys have an awesome Saturday. If you are on the southeast side, if you are on the East Coast, man, if you're on the East Coast, stay warm out there. I hope you got your food. I hope you got your drinks. Go, it's Saturday. Go watch some Saturday morning cartoons, which is on Tubi, by the way. If it's on Tubi. There's a lot of Saturday morning cartoons on Tubi. And typically around 1 p.m. Eastern time, you might want to go check out Blur Without Fear. He comes out at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and him and Carter Presents. They always have a good time. You know what I'm saying? So you get your double dose of comic book content. You get me on the mornings, and you get my boy in the afternoons. Blur Without Fear. Go check him out. So until next time, y'all. Peace.